If you're in the event business, if you're an event planner or producer, you'll know that often cases activations can take a lot of work. You rent a venue, then you hire an AV crew, then you might hire independent media production companies, then you hire some people to do, branding and internal design. Then you might have caterers involved. There's at least five people I just named that are involved in turning on an event activation. And that's not even talking about custom electric and plumbing or anything that you might need to do if you're working with beauty and fashion and custom light rigging. So it can be a lot. And this is some of the backdrop of why we've created a lot of kind of power under the hood at the Startwell Event Studio in downtown Toronto. This building has been used by all sorts of brands to create very compelling B2B pop ups. And recently, we did a project with the British beauty, I guess, brand Charlotte Tilbury. The project was brought to us from the US, a company named Rock, Paper, Scissors that excels at doing very unique, beautiful activations all over North America for this wonderful brand. And the House of XM here in Toronto came on board to really help us build out this solution. Essentially, what this meant was that we delivered to client a really unique activation that turned our white building, the interior is entirely white. It's like Miami whitewash on the floors and the walls. It turned it into a very luxurious, like kind of black velour encased environment. And this allowed the brand to feel comfortable in showcasing its products to 34, I think, local influencer models here in downtown Toronto to come have a very on-brand experience, be welcomed by brand ambassadors, but then play with product, look at the new products that have come out from Charlotte Tilbury, make their way through hair and makeup. And for that, we'd set up actually a number of stations that were on either side of our social hall, three, I believe, hair and makeup stations, and then two at the back of the room. So we had 8 in total. And you can imagine the power requirement for hair and makeup stations. This was set up as if they were walking onto a professional shoot for a campaign. And what that meant was each hair and makeup station had a setup to actually support the tools of the trade, plus someone running hair and someone doing makeup. High power devices were plugged in at each station, and we have a custom panel that's full of 20 amp breakers that are just allocated for one per station. So basically, we had tons of power already set up for this shoot because it's something that was designed as part of the facility. So power was not an issue. They had a really great experience in hair and makeup, and that was the beginning of the experience. The real core of it was media capture, but done in a way that it was kind of entertainment for all of the guests. So in the actual main studio on the other side of the building, once hair and makeup was done by 8 guests that were kind of getting prepped, they would make their way, they were led by our team into a custom setup that we did with pipe and drape that created changing rooms. And we had someone running a steamer, making sure their garments for these media shoots that we were going to do after hair and makeup were, the garments were nice and steamed and looked great. And then we had change rooms for them to jump into their outfits in between the photo and the video setups. For the video setup, we actually had a bunch of props set up, and our team use a number of Blackmagic 6K cameras that really offer a very high-end cinematic aesthetic. In a very tight space, we were able to capture a lot of depth. And for each talent, we had very unique kind of direction that we gave to the talent to be able to let them express themselves. So in one day, we shot, I don't know, 3 or 4 different sets of these 8 talent. And what that meant was it was a long, grueling day, but it was really, really fun because everyone who was participating in the experience felt that it was on brand. It looked great, and it felt really special to be there because it was only set up for the day. This was not like they'd walked into a store to get their hair done or get their makeup done. It was like they knew that this whole experience was set up just for them for the day. And as each person walked into the studio space, there was a lounge that we created with some projected branding materials on the wall, and it was flanked on either side by these change rooms, but then also a video setup that I mentioned, which was a private detective set that matched the actual marketing materials of the brand Charlotte Tilbury. And then kind of on the other side of the lounge in the studio area, we had also set up a photo set, and we had staff photographers working on really beautiful boudoir shots. And so with the two different setups of the kind of boudoir on the photo side and then the private eye detective on the other side, there was a lot of like visual diversity that we were able to capture, but we had these two defined sets. So that meant that it was really, really fun for talent to be able to jump into one, play a role, be directed as if they are, actors, have fun with it, show us aside, and show the camera and essentially show all of their followers on the networks where these assets are going to be published. Aside to them, that was kooky and fun and on brand, and also celebrated a brand that they liked, right? Like, so everyone who came really are believers in the products that Charlotte Tilbury does produce. So they were very excited to kind of rep the brand to their followers. It wasn't something that they were just hired to be there. They were actually passionate about participating. And I think that lended a whole angle to why this sort of pop-up is really successful. Because if the people that come to be on camera, whether they're hired models and actors or whether they are, authentic talent, people that are just, have an affinity to the product or the lifestyle that they're representing on their social media account, and they have tens or hundreds of thousands of followers who connect with that, then a brand really accesses an authentic network of influence, which is kind of exciting because there's storytelling involved, right? And every day that might not happen on these people's profiles. They might be applying makeup and being educational and instructional. Whereas this was a little bit of a change from the norm. They got to be treated like celebrities, enjoy the day, get intimate with the brand and meet some brand reps, learn about the products, and some new products that hadn't maybe come to market yet. But then they also got to kind of like wear them and play a role and be actors and actresses. And so it was really, really a fun experience to see people enjoy themselves. But the creative that came out of it, as you'll see on the screen, was phenomenal. So our goal was always to like have output from this representing the brand on the same caliber as marketing content that, costs hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to produce. But we produced 30 plus different talent in one day for photo and video and turned this around. All these media assets got turned around within 1 week. I think it was less than a week. So that kind of shows the versatility of the space, but also the power under the hood, which is the Startwell approach to media production that relies on us having these spaces pre-configured for media production, and our team, that our staff producers being well kind of adept at using photo and video within our spaces to quickly create very unique setups that are on brand. Hope you enjoyed looking at this case, and feel free to pop over to startwell.co, click on magazine. It happened at Startwell, and you'll see a bunch of other case studies that we're adding to our catalog of great client experiences we've had recently here at Startwell.